This is Lee Pineapple, the canned food brand many of us grow up seeing in pantries back home. I'm here in Skudai, Johor Bahru, but I never expect this place to be connected to that childhood nostalgia. Until a few months ago, when I heard the news, Lee Pineapple factory here is shutting down for good. That hits me. So my friend and I decided we had to come to see it for ourselves one last time before this piece of history disappears forever. So come with me as we walk through the gates of this once legendary factory. This is me, Uncle Go Travelling, making my way to Kranji MRT station. And this is my friend who will be joining me for this trip. As with all my Johor Bahru adventure, I start my day from Kranji MRT station, then head over to Woodlands checkpoint for Singapore exit immigration. After clearing immigration, we reboard the bus and cross the famous Johor-Singapore Causeway, one of the busiest border crossings in the world. From there, we make our way to Johor Bahru CIQ complex, the usual entry point into Johor Bahru. And just like that, our Johor journey begins. From the CIQ checkpoint, we make our way to Johor Bahru Central, the main integrated transport hub in Johor Bahru. Because there are two of us, and we want to reach Skudai before the heat really kicks in, we head straight to the taxi stand and catch a cab. No bargaining, no hustle, just a flat fare. From Johor Bahru Central to Skudai, the typical taxi fare is around 20 to 35 ringgit during the day on standard service. With that sorted, we set off. This will be my first time visiting the Lee Pineapple factory, and honestly, I have no idea what to expect. I don't know where the site looks and how much is left right now. The drive from Johor Bahru CIQ all the way to Skudai takes about 15 to 20 kilometers, which on a good day with light traffic should be around 15 to 20 minutes. The taxi head out along the coastal highway with Singapore slipping on our left. Familiar buildings rising on both sides, a scene not unlike the route towards Kulai, but that familiarity flips quickly. When the driver suddenly takes a left turn into an unknown street, the scenery changes dramatically. Suddenly, we are no longer surrounded by concrete towers. Instead, we are rolling into low-rise houses, kampung-style homes, and quiet neighborhood. We finally arrive. Our taxi stops, but honestly, I'm not sure if this is the place. I step out. Ahead of me is a sprawling factory-like building. Could this be the Lee Pineapple factory? It is nothing what I saw online. The paint is peeling. The wall looks worn. The whole structure looks abandoned. It is as though time stood still here. Do we come all the way for this? And then, reality hits. The taxi has long gone, and we are standing in the middle of somewhere unfamiliar. On the map, this road is called Jalan Kilang Nenas, literally Pineapple Factory Road. Locals, especially the Hokkien-speaking residents, often call this area 8.5 mile. It reminds me of old school naming style, like how Singapore once named 1 mile, 2 miles road. That familiarity gives me a strange sense of comfort and nostalgia. As we roam this stretch, I notice signs of a settlement here, but not the typical cityscape. Instead of high rises, There is an old market vibe along Jalan Kilang Nenas. Single-story zinc roof buildings line the road. Many of these houses clearly older than me. To regular viewers of this channel, you know old buildings and humble places like this always catches my attention. Out of what seemed like a heart of old industry, back then, the pineapple canning industry was the norm. We found this little community thriving on simplicity. And people outside of this community drive all the way here just for food. We wandered through the stores selling fresh produce. Yes, pineapple among them. But also local favorite as well. The number of choices here really surprises us. This is the real Johor Bahru experience. Unexpected, genuine, authentic. We dug into one of the old school coffee shops here in Johor. The kind where morning begins with sizzling woks and the smell of frying oils. Noodles, fresh dough sticks fresh from the pan. My friend go for the usual breakfast comfort. Wonton noodle and crunchy fritters at 7 ringgit. These noodles are simple, satisfying, and just perfect. Then I spotted something special, a thunder tea or lei cha store. Thunder tea or lei cha is a Hakka heritage dish you rarely find in modern cafes. A bowl of that costs 8 ringgit. That price point, you won't see that in any upscale mall. How could I skip it? So I order it. This is what Southeast Asia Chinese kopitiam breakfasts are all about. Real food, honest prices, heritage recipes. Growing up, this was normal, but in Singapore, these kopitiams have mostly vanished. They are replaced by hawker centers or sleek cafe. Now, I only get to savor this kind of feel when I'm in Malaysia. But today, this breakfast run reminds me how authentic and rooted local food culture is here in Johor Bahru. After breakfast, my friend and I are still soaking in the old school charm of this kampung market area. Since these parts of town are deep off the main road and there's no guarantee we will ever come back here again, we decided to linger a little longer just to enjoy the atmosphere and vibe of this forgotten corner of Johor. A few shops away, we dropped into another coffee shop. And you know me, I can never resist when I spot good food. This time is yong tau fu and cheong fan for just 9 ringgit. Yong tau fu, a Hakka origin dish of tofu or vegetables stuffed with meats and fish paste. This kind of food is one of those humble, comforting classics that define Malaysia Chinese foodie culture. But the thing is that we just had breakfast only 10 minutes ago. But since we are already here, why not indulge a little more? The typical saying, 来了就来了. So we split the plate between the two of us, totally guilt-free. This kind of food isn't about Michelin stars or glossing plating. It's about memories. And for me, this yong tau fu with cheong fan with curry sauce is comfort food at its finest. Thank you. We decide to walk to our next stop. Google Map tells us it's about 3 kilometers away. For us, that's perfect. We will burn off the meal and soak up more of JB real atmosphere before the sun gets too brutal. So we say goodbye to Jalan Kilang Nenas, also known as 8.5 Mile. At first, the walk feel easy. We chat and enjoy the simple scenery. But as we turn into Skudai Highway, reality hits. There's barely any shade. The midday sun is hot, and the air is thick and humid, typical of Johor Bahru tropical climate. I believe the temperature out there is about 30 to 32 degrees centigrade, with humidity making it feel more intense. The highway is busy, fast cars zooming past. Walking past the roadside feel risky. The sidewalks are patchy, shade is nearly non-existent, and the only relief is the occasional rain tree casting a little shadow. By the time we finish the 3-kilometer walk, it takes us almost an hour under the sun. At last, we spot Paradigm Mall Johor Bahru coming into view. For a moment, seeing that huge 7-story building lifts our spirits. We almost feel rescued from the scorching heat outside. But stepping inside, the mall doesn't really draw us in. Paradigm Mall is quiet, not buzzing. A far cry from the chaos you would expect in a place of this size. Maybe it's because Johor now has many shopping malls sprouting everywhere. The newer, shinier ones push older malls like this further into the background. Besides, Paradigm Mall isn't exactly near the causeway. It's out in Skudai. And from what I've seen, shopping malls far away from the city center tend to rely mostly on car owners and weekend shoppers, not day trippers like us. Even with Christmas around the corner, the decorations are humble, nothing spectacular. Still, there are some features I like about this place. For one, Paradigm houses blue ice skating rink, Johor only indoor skating rink. If I plan to stay longer, I wouldn't mind getting an amusement ride pass to play all these acrobatic rides. But this trip is a day trip and there's quite a lot of things lined up to do for the next few hours. So we have to pass that. There is also an archery here. Frankly, there's quite a lot of things to be done here. And most importantly, without the maddening crowd from across the causeway, this is very relaxing to pass my remaining days here. We only hang around in Paradigm Mall just to rest our sore foot and quench our thirst in the air-conditioner building. We crash into A&W to have that comforting root beer float. Paradigm Mall tries hard to be more than just a mall. So it's great if you are with kids or friends. But today, we are not here to shop or chase thrills. We just need a place to rest. To escape from the heat, chill out a little bit, maybe grab a late bite. So we duck into A&W Johor Bahru for a comforting root beer float. A simple treat that feels like a small luxury after a full morning under the tropical sun. Our next Grab ride takes us another 16 kilometers east, straight to AEON Mall Tebrau City. Honestly, I have completely lost track how many shopping malls are there in Johor Bahru. I heard people say there are over 30 plus malls, big and small, and this really shows how competitive the shopping scene here is. And with so much land to build on, Johor Bahru just keep expanding. As our Grab glides along the wide open highway, you really feel the difference. The space, the openness, is relaxing in a way Singapore cannot offer anymore. No wonder the weekend crowd keeps heading north to unwind. This is my first visit to AEON Mall Tebrau City, and first impression? It looks like a classic suburban mega mall. Big, boxy, and built for families. Inside, the lineup of shops feels similar to Paradigm Mall, but newer, busier, and more energetic. Naturally, people prefer the newer malls. That is just the life cycle of retail. Only a few more like the JB City Square survive long term thanks to the unbeatable location. Walking through AEON Tebrau City, you can feel the festive mood. Seasonal decorations everywhere, big brands, amusement zone. But my legs are giving up. These malls are huge, especially when you are not here to shop. Then something catches my eye. The Tsutaya Bookstores. While bookstores back home in Singapore are struggling due to high rentals, over here in JB, they are thriving and evolving. Tsutaya Bookstore isn't just a bookstore, it is a lifestyle space. The design is gorgeous, soft lighting, minimalistic Japanese aesthetic, that calm wabi-sabi vibe. It feels like a blend of library, cafe, and an art gallery. And right in the center, the highlights. A massively curved bookshelf soaring from floor to ceiling. It is one of those features that just stops you in the track. No wonder everyone takes pictures here. This is the perfect IG spot. Standing inside, I feel like a frog in a well, suddenly stepping into a whole new world. Stepping out of AEON Mall Tebrau City, something bright catches my eye. A big blue box with bold yellow letters. Yup, IKEA, IKEA. That unmistakable global landmark. And honestly, it looks almost identical to the IKEA we have in Singapore, especially the one in Tampines. I do not usually visit IKEA when I travel because, well, IKEA is IKEA. That's pretty much the same everywhere. But since I'm already here, no harm popping in for a look, right? True enough, the layout feels familiar. That same guided path that leads you through every room setup from living room to bedroom. It's like muscle memory. Your legs just know where to go. And I might be wrong, but the only thing that usually changes from country to country is the cafeteria setup and menu. But there's something unique about IKEA Tebrau, the warehouse. The moment I step in, I am completely dwarfed by the towering shelf stretching all the way up from the floor to the high ceiling. It's massive, so massive that I feel like a tiny figurine lost in a giant playset. Oddly enough, I kind of enjoy wandering around among the racks. At the foyer, I'm greeted by a beautiful Christmas theme setup. Bright lights, reflective mirrors, and decoration that feel straight out of a childhood storybook. It's charming, it's whimsical, and honestly, it makes me smile. I really thought the walking for today was over. But since Oriental Kopi is only 2 kilometers from IKEA Tebrau, we decide to save on Grab fees and stretch our legs a bit more. From here, we are heading into the Johor Jaya district. Points to point, it doesn't look far, but the moment we step back onto the roadside shoulder of another busy highway, reality hits us. We have to cross the flyover that separates Tebrau from Johor Jaya, weave into a bustling commercial area, and finally, Oriental Kopi comes into view. Oriental Kopi is a Malaysian-born and recently opened branches all over in Singapore. And the best part, eating in Malaysia feels more authentic. At least psychological, and definitely much cheaper. I didn't compare menu prices, so I'm not sure whether it is exchange rate or actual pricing. And the outlet we are visiting today, this Johor Jaya branch is their first ever branch, located right here in Johor Jaya. And honestly, it is also the most beautiful Oriental Kopi outlet that I have ever seen. The real stars of Oriental Kopi are the egg tarts and the kaya butter toast. So of course, we ordered those. We also added a polo bun, polo in Chinese called pineapple, which matches today's theme. Though ironically, there's no pineapple in this bun at all. Everything we tried, the kaya toast, the polo bun, and the egg tarts are simply excellent. I'm not a food critic, but honestly, I couldn't find a single fault. We also shared an iced coffee and a plate of nasi lemak. And yes, this also lived up to our expectation. Time to leave this spot and catch a Grab. If you have made it this far into this video, thank you. If you haven't already, please drop a like, leave a comment, and hit the subscribe button. But hey, this Johor Bahru chapter isn't over yet. We are about to head to a place you probably heard a lot about. A place that has been trending on social media for the past few years, and in travel feeds and in urban development headlines. We are going to Forest City. Stay tuned, you do not want to miss this.